After 10 weeks of tough, demanding and at times pulsating rugby in the first division of the NPC, we're down to just 2 teams as Auckland and Waikato come together to find a champion in 2002. Well, there really couldn't be a better setting for this final. This brand new Waikato Stadium has been buzzing all season as the Mulu men have swept all before them, not dropping a home game in the process. Conditions holding up well. It's been an overcast day here with the odd shower in Hamilton, but you really couldn't ask for much better for the culmination of the domestic rugby season. And what an atmosphere there is too. In the stadium, the cowbells are ringing. There's plenty of support too for the visitors, Auckland. And here comes Xavier Rush and the Auckland team. Auckland field the same pack that got them through the semi-final against Canterbury last week. This time last year, Daniel Braid had played 3 first-class matches, all as a replacement. Tonight, he's a vital component in the Auckland forward effort. Braid has that ability to be in the right place at the right time, and his combination with Rush and Collins will be key. For Auckland to succeed tonight, it normally means Carlos Spencer has to play well, and in a final, that is most certainly the case. Since moving back to first 5/8 a month ago, Stenson's form has been outstanding, and his ability to dictate the trends in a game is unparalleled in New Zealand rugby. As we welcome our international audience, and here comes the Waikato team. The Waikato forward pack has been quite outstanding all season, and Keith Robinson at lock has played well enough to be considered a big chance to don the All Black jersey in a few weeks' time. Robinson has been top class in set pieces, and along with the inexperienced Sean Honeck, will be expected to keep that standard high tonight. Well, with David Hill not fit to play tonight, the spotlight shift to Derek Maisie at first 5/8. Several times this season, Maisie has been called on to step in, and his contributions have been excellent. 3 tries against Canterbury being an example. Regan King fit to play in jersey number 13. Both sides ready to go. The whistle from Paddy O'Brien. The 2002 final is underway. The kickoff is made and taken down by Ali Williams for Auckland, looking for a strong start. Change as Spencer's kick is knocked down by Keith Robinson, but Auckland look as though they're still in control, so a nervous start by Auckland.
Well, great play, Keith Robinson.
Now Braid brings it away. Good recovery. Looked to be knocked down. No, it went straight down. According to Paddy O'Brien, Spencer gets to make the kick this time. Down as far as Todd Miller. Returning it down inside the 22, Xavier Rush. And now Spencer again. Looks as though he's reluctant to find the touchline. He wants Waikato to do that. And this will nestle in the in-goal area. And there'll be a restart from the 22.
Well, you'd have to say points to Auckland. Big pressure inside the 22. Almost a knock on, looked like it to me, in fact. Would have been a scrum under the sticks. And now to drop out 22 Waikato.
Righto, Matthew, how strong's the wind?
Reasonably strong, Nisbo, but it has died down. Very blustery here in Hamilton all day. And these are beautiful conditions on the surface. And yeah, good start too from Auckland. But Waikato putting pressure on Spencer where they want to.
Oh, big tackle made by Rush on Miller. And he didn't release. Huge tackle by the captain. Todd Miller didn't release, and here's an early opportunity.
Well, it was beautifully taken. But Rush was there, pinned him, Well, so the challenges have come, and they've got the first advantage, the first opportunity. It's all about creation of opportunities. Well, it's more about finishing those opportunities too, I guess. So can Carlos Spencer start the way he'd love, the way every goal kicker would love to start? Yeah, and he's been in such irresistible form, this NBC. I'd put money he'll slot it.
Unbelievable din as Carlos Spencer lines it up. And that's the way to silence the cowbells. Spencer the penalty, Auckland lead.
Superb focus from Carlos Spencer. He was very focused. You could see the Auckland players when they ran out. They all looked as though they've got that look in their eye. And what a great way to start for him to bang over that first penalty.
Kickoff is made. Again, it's going to be Ali Williams. And he's going to be dragged across the touchline. Well, he did well to take it, but he didn't do quite so well by heading to the touchline.
Yeah, it's interesting, really. Ali Williams has fielded both kickoffs. The first one under huge pressure. This one not quite so much pressure. He was shielded by a player, and he chose to try and get out of it rather than set up the ball. Bottom line is Waikato ball into the line out on the 22.
Beautifully taken down by Honeck for Waikato. Now it's delivered to Duggan across to Maisie. He doesn't mind having a run, but well tackled by Braid. Duggan in again, short to Greg Smith. And Waikato getting their first touch of the ball in the game. Robinson and the defence from Auckland, which has been outstanding all season, holding up well. Duggan, now they've got it numbers. Miller. Still there for Rhys Duggan. Auckland fanned across though. Here's Dion Muir. The captain backs his way in. And there's a hand in there from Auckland.
Well, 7 phases Waikato and only one were they running onto the ball. So Auckland offensive defence. So this is where, well, I'm looking for the hand. Yes, was the player lying on the ground. Meeker it was. Very
impressive defence, Murray, wasn't it? About the 7 phases there. They really attacked the Aucklanders on defence. They really, as you called it, offensive defence. They're sprinting out of the blocks, putting pressure on the Waikato side.
Well, as we've all seen this year, Waikato love to run on the ball, Matt. And it was only 1 out of those 7 rucks where they actually came forward onto it. So Bruce Rohana, he's not only been in outstanding form this year, but also as a goal kicker. So will he match Carlos? 7 from 7 last time he played. Same place as Carlos Spencer's kick.
Looks good.
Well, that's exactly what we want to see. Tit for tat. I sense a marvellous competition here tonight.
Now they need a ball. Study of concentration on the Waikato bench. Marty Holler, he's been outstanding in recent weeks. Here's Carlos Spencer getting us going again, looking for the breeze to hold it up and not doing much up top. And here goes Dion Muir. Lays it for Duggan. And the whistle is gone. Might have been a knock on in there.
So the full width of the field for Auckland. This will give us an indication of what their game plan is. Probably the first time we've had a look so far.
First scrum of the match to be fed by Steve Devine.
Number 8. Waikato twisting.
Spencer running it to the line as you'd expect. It breaks down, snapped up by Lowen. Waikato up towards the halfway line, looking for the quick ball, and here it comes. King away for Miller. Rayhan is well covered by Howlett, but Waikato now inside Auckland's territory as Smith hands it off. Muir lets it go. Maisie hands it off to Holler. Auckland's swarming defence holding Waikato. And there's a free shot at a body there. And it's going to be Waikato ball.
Well, Keith Lowen seized the opportunity. There was a mess up around Spencer, and Lowen seized it straight away and moved it, and they ran onto the ball.
It's a very similar move that Auckland pulled against Canterbury last week, and that time Derek Maisie got on the way and disrupted the Auckland movement.
And not by accident, I would say, the way strategy works these days, to studying the opposition.
Muir had to change plan there. He was heading right, had to get it off to the left. Howlett's lost it forward. Still live though. Referee playing advantage. John O'Gibbs. And he can't link up though with Keith Lowen. And advantage is over. And Muliaina are leading the charge. Coming across and that's what Muliaina's in. First try scored by Mils Muliaina for Auckland.
Well, absolutely amazing. It looked to everybody as though it was in touch. I saw Keith Robinson turning around desperately trying to compete against Muliaina. It was always going to be a one-horse race. Todd Miller on the other side came screaming across. Have a look at this. It all went a little bit wrong. It was Howlett who intercepted. It was lost forward from Howlett. And that was also knocked forward, it looked like, perhaps. So playing the advantage.
Just shows you how crucial turnovers are in grand final football. And Todd Miller on the other side of the field, and only Mike Collins and Keith Robinson chasing. Miller coming across in the end, but great skills from Mils Muliaina to go over for the first try.
Well, the opportunism, I guess, a classic sevens player, part of Titchen's group of comers, because this man certainly is. He looks like a natural centre to me. He's played a lot of rugby at fullback and also on the wing for Auckland. But he looks to me like, for all money, he's an outside centre. Lovely outside break, turn of pace.
Carlos Spencer from a wide angle. And this one won't come round in time. So the try is unconverted, but Auckland have the first 5-pointer of the game. Mils Muliaina, after Paddy O'Brien played advantage, played it long enough, and advantage was over, and Muliaina won the race. The restart. Williams again, he's the man to take the kickoffs. There it is for Devine. Here they come again. Robinson leading the charge. And Spencer this time goes to the touchline.
Well, Ali Williams, he's putting his hand up. 3 kickoffs. He's fielded 3. And that one very effectively because the ball was presented so well. And this is the result. Nearly back to halfway.
Robinson to Muir. Duggan for Lowen. He's lost it in the tackle, and away goes Collins. Auckland getting the turnovers. Waikato not settling as quickly as Auckland so far. Devine getting held. Still on the Auckland side. In goes Reece Duggan. Now Spencer. Just putting themselves under a bit of pressure here.
Really not getting enough numbers to it. Waikato were only 2 players. Auckland have saved the day.
Now it's clear for Spencer. Waiting is Roger Randall. Beautifully done. Now it's with Regan King. 10-metre line in Waikato territory. And just danger here. This could flare up.
Right away, Xavier. Take the team. No. Take right away. Take them right away.
Well, the 2 hookers involved.
Let's have a listen.
Right, what's the original flagging there for?
The original flagging was reckless play by the blue, and I'm sorry I have not got a number,
Okay.
on the back and the back of the head of a Waikato player.
Yeah.
It was over here.
Yeah, and then this one here?
This one here was just busted up for nothing on this one. Turn right, yeah.
Now they're listening here to Steve
Give me the number again.
Walsh.
One right.
Yeah, okay. You go to the original one back there. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? I mean, I could tell before the game was going to happen, but it ain't going to happen twice. All right, what I'm doing, I'm going back for the dangerous rucking back there against one of your players, haven't got a number. I'm also going to talk to your number one about throwing a punch. Retaliation is not part of the game. Yep. I'll tell you what, fellas, you've now forced my hand. All right, I gave you the chance at the start of the game. You've forced it. That's it. I'm going up here, wait to talk to them. None of that, we're going back up there. Watch your, have you won?
No, mate.
No, who's won? Watch your punching.
Yeah.
We're going back to the penalty up here.
Well, I think he probably handled it pretty well. Obviously, there were two parties involved there, and he went back to the first offence. If that was it, I'm not sure whether it justified it, because that was pretty standard rucking, but that may not have been what happened. Either way, he's warned them.
But either way, can't you see why Paddy O'Brien is rated the number one referee in New Zealand? The way that he handles those situations. Very clear and very good referee.
Well, it depends on how he reacts now, of course, because so often those sorts of things stir referees into perhaps over officious play, but this man is not normally guilty of that, but we'll see what evolves. But the tension, the pressure of championship rugby, of finals rugby, I mean, just the actual speed of everything happening is just that little level up, you know. There's no room for hesitation, no room for a mistake, no room for indecision. There's only room for action.
So, Bruce Reihana. Kick of around 40 metres. Not this time. And it barely had the distance anyway.
22.
So 8 points to 3.
Number 2, the boys said, watch your pulling. TJ just said, keep an eye on with your pulling jerseys. Just you. I don't know about you.
Just a little aside there for Greg Smith.
I don't believe it.
No pulling.
Paddy said he didn't believe it. Anyway, here we go with Spencer. Down as far as Derek Maisie. He's got the wind behind him here, and that's a big kick.
And overcooked a bit, really.
And beautifully claimed too by Brent Ward, who hasn't really come into the game yet, but he has now. And Spencer getting good distance too.
Well, at this level, of course, the slightest mistake, and it's punished. So possession equal. Territory, well, that's a bit deceiving, isn't it?
Just a real air of composure about the Auckland side at the moment in the first quarter of an hour. They're just showing a lot more composure than the Waikato team.
Robinson again is the target. Muir. Jono Gibbs plays at halfback. Not such a flash pass. Kick is made by Maisie. Howlett is after it. Doug Howlett looking to open things up. Gets support from Ward. They've got plenty of pace, but now he's handed it off to Roger Randall. And Greg Smith takes it in right near the halfway line. Deacon Manu. He's lost it, and away goes Devine. Here's another chance for Auckland. Howlett is well taken, but the blue and white numbers are there. Playing advantage. Auckland's way. They've still got a chance. Tui Tupo. Spencer goes wide. Braid. Off now to Ward for the corner. And he'll go back. Will eat no. Advantage is over. And a great tackle.
Great tackle, great defence. Well, Steve Devine, he started it all. He snapped up the loose ball. He's instant action.
Waikato under pressure. Robinson or Mealamu's got it. Mealamu to the line, try! Keven Mealamu off a Waikato mistake.
And a Waikato throw too. So it was against the throw. Robertson getting one hand only to it, recovered by Mealamu. Well, he's an everywhere man. Very rarely do you see a hooker involved as much play as Keven Mealamu.
Outstanding play from the Auckland side. I mentioned composure before, and this time on the Waikato lineup, which has been very effective this season, Mealamu, opportunist, over for the second try for Auckland.
It was all about disputing possession in the line-out. They didn't just hand it to Waikato, they disputed it, and they got a try out of it.
Interesting too, they've had 3 lineouts, and I think the whole 3 have been thrown to Robinson. I mean, admittedly, the first 2 were taken superbly, but it was anticipated by Auckland that it was going to him again. And I think it was Ali Williams that got a hand to it.
This time he goes the other way. So 2 unconverted tries, the second by Keven Mealamu, and 13-3, Auckland lead. Bit of work to be done now for Waikato. This time it's going to be Devine to claim it. Reihana hits him with everything. Spencer's under pressure. Waikato fired up by those 2 tries, but Spencer gets back and he settles it all down with this long kick. Duggan away for Miller. Another kick by Maisie. And the whistle's gone. And he called for a mark. I'm not sure the player called it.
I think it might have been one of those guys carrying cowbells on the sideline.
Once again showed you how Auckland recovered from that kickoff. Bruce Reihana put the pressure on Auckland, but how quickly they recovered, and for that lovely long Spencer punt.
Another long punt. My word, he's getting some distance. Reihana fielding it. Waikato need to get a hold of the ball and hang on to it for a while. Not able to do it here again as Duggan makes the kick, chases Rush across. But Auckland managing to hold the ball with Devine. Now Braid keeping it close to the touchline, but they're well organised. Mealamu carries on. Now Devine for Spencer. Flicks it back to Tui Tupou, who has that ability to get through the first tackle. Spencer drop kick. And close off the post. Randall Fields. And he scrambles it away. Well, well, well.
Well, it's amazing how finals rugby can change things. We've seen Waikato all season. As soon as they've got a ball deep in the 22, they've counter-attacked. They've just thrown caution to the wind. They've moved it and they've attacked. Tonight it's been different. We've seen Todd Miller receive the ball and kick it back. We just saw Roger Randall doing the same thing. The pressure.
Now it's disputing possession of Waikato. And Auckland are struggling to get it. In fact, they may not.
Turnover.
Some very vigorous rucking. Well, there might be some yellow cards handed out here. Paddy O'Brien has already handed out the warning, so let's see. He was standing right there. Let's see what he thinks.
Rucking at this side, I wonder who that is.
Yeah, I got on this side, the rucking.
Yeah, who was it?
There was number 4 and another player. I don't know.
I'm going number 4 there, and Keith Robertson's going as well. The two knocks are going to go to the bin.
Okay.
Because he was shut out. I saw a punch there.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go with, which way's the penalty? Second offence by Waikato. Yeah. Skipper and lock. Skipper, lock, number 4. Number 4, come here.
Well,
Right, this is the way it's going. if it hadn't been a warning, it would have been fine. I've already warned the captains. You for throwing the punch, and that's retaliation, so the penalty's going against you, which is silly. You for using your feet and then getting into it. You and you both go to the bin. I'll see you in 10 minutes. See ya. Okay. Go. The penalty's going to Auckland for retaliation.
Well, I'm not sure if he got it right personally. However, I'll tell you what.
Xavier, yeah. Hey, come on, mate. Xavier, there's your chance. Go into a real good yarn to him. You're prop as well. I saw that one. Yeah, but don't.
So 2 players go to the bin. 14 men for the next 10 minutes. Well, that's the plan anyway, but the way things are going, it might be less.
Yes, it's more the reprimand, I think, the decision he made to reprimand, to penalise both teams, rather than being absolutely certain who were the 2 culprits. That would be my only question of that decision.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get a clear indication from the touch judge on either offence. So he's matched the penalty to each team in effect. Put two players on the touchline.
Again off the post. And it'll be a 5-metre scrum.
Yeah, Auckland ball. So this might be better than kicking that goal. It just sat up, and it just stayed up there.
John Afoa's on for Case Muse. He's in the blood, so it's his first scrum in the tight head position for the Blue and Whites.
So let's have a look at this. Is really interesting. Short side left. Have a look at that. They're stacking it. Three players. Auckland 4 players. In fact, so they're going to have to go right, surely. This is a great position to attack from. In fact, this is the best position on the field to attack from. Just left of the left-hand upright.
So there's John Afoa going onto the tight head side of the Auckland scrum.
Well, normally I would think they'd have 1 player on the short side and go left. They've actually stacked the short side, so I'm sure they're going to go right. So Waikato, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and spin the scrum?
We can't have the ball into a steady, so we've got to steady it.
This is a really interesting situation. Waikato defenders very closely. Look at that. That's the last man on the right-hand side. About 15 metres left, right of the right-hand upright.
Here it comes for Auckland. Spencer holds it up. Spencer's in. 3rd try tonight to Auckland.
Well, how can you anticipate that? Extraordinary, really. It looked like they were wanting to draw the defence, but they ran that way anyway. It's like saying, anticipate what I'm going to do, and I'll do something else. There's so many players on there, you wouldn't have thought there was room to score, but Carlos, of course, can do anything.
Well, they put the 2 game breakers, Carlos Spencer and Brent Ward, and that created the confusion. And wonderful play from Carlos Spencer. Just took the initiative. Good scrum. Brent Ward went the other way, the Auckland fullback. Carlos the dummy, and over in Duggan's tackle.
Well, it was a classic move, Matt, because it was a classic lefto. That's Devine clearing the ball. Sorry, it was Rush clearing the ball beautifully. I don't know if you noticed that. And Devine was the standoff. That made Spencer the inside centre.
This time he's nailed it. Spencer converts his own try. And Auckland reign supreme at the moment. 20 points to 3. 3 tries to 0.
Well, that was a great try.
Waikato have to kick off again. They go short. Controlled again by Auckland. Spencer dictating the trend in the game. Has Miller scuttling across field. Now the attempted kick and chase from Todd Miller. Rush gets rid of him and knocks it on. Well, in the efforts to try and bump off Todd Miller, Xavier Rush loses the ball.
It's extraordinary how things can run for one team and against the other. That's the first time I think the bounce has gone against Auckland. Everything's gone right for Auckland so far. 20 points to 3. That's a huge lead after 20 minutes of play.
Now here comes Waikato up to Keith. Lowen opens up a big gap. Waikato getting some momentum finally. Jono Gibbs. But Auckland get players there in numbers. Now it's with Maisie. Heaves it across to Roger Randall. Nice tackle by Steve Devine. Maisie calling the runners. Now Manu, who may well be in blue and white next year himself.
Good play, Waikato. Taking it to the line aggressively. Keith Lowen. He's been the man this year also. Regan King had a wonderful run. The man inside him has fed him so well. Look at that beautiful break. He had to step inside that last man, which is what he didn't want to do, because that took him back into the forwards.
Duggan waiting. Here they come. No, he was going to go blindside. Change of mind. Maisie hands it back. Lowen's through again. Now he's looking for support. The race is on. Collins has controlled it. Auckland getting back. What a great effort by Gus Collins. And the clearance is made. Real composure. Now, who gets the throw? That's the question.
I think that's Auckland throw. I think that went off Reihana. Incredible kick if it did. No. So Keith Lowen breaking clear. He had to go himself here. Watch the chip. But he was held in the tackle legitimately too, I will add. Gus Collins getting back desperation. Well, did it? Yes, it went off. Probably went off Howlett's head, I think.
15 minutes remaining in the first half. NPC final. Auckland with a big lead. Honick. No, in fact, it was Gibbs. Now, Michael Collins. Great run from the big prop forward.
Yeah, looking to see what's on. Nothing's on.
Dion Muir has a look. He gets hammered.
Well, they're desperate. Waikato, they must score. I'm surprised he didn't go. Who's Duggan?
So what's the call here? Well, this is a big one. In a final.
Well, Collins somehow broke free. He was a bit short of support, I thought, here for a second. Just that gap.
Big move from Waikato. I would have taken the points, taken those 3 points in the grand final. They may prove me wrong here. They need to score desperately, the Waikato side.
They go deep in the line-out. Now it's back with Dion Muir. Fighting his way up to within a metre. Duggan. Getting up wide, straight through. Regan King does it again. And Waikato come back.
Pack your bags, Regan King. The positioning. He's now equal top on try scorers. Well, what a lovely runner. How often does he drift past the player? Well, shades of elegance there. Lovely timing.
Lovely timing, Murray, from Regan King, but put it down once again to the Derek Maisie pass. He's a beautiful passer of the ball. Lovely wide and flat. And then, of course, King had to have the straight line, which he finished off beautifully, but it put it down to the Derek Maisie pass.
Reihana. Regulation conversion, and that brings the crowd to their feet.
Well, it's an absolutely crucial score. That Matthew, you said that you would have taken the 3 points. But so often the psychological advantage of scoring a try, and in fact, in that case, the necessity for Waikato, the crowd, the whole match. In fact, they're back in the game big time. It was 20 points to 10.
It was a guaranteed 3 points, but you did right. Under the situation, Waikato had to score. Whatever happened, they needed to score. 7's definitely better than 3, Murray.
Was it a guaranteed 3?
Oh, with the way this boy's kicking, I think it would be.
Still 14 aside. I think Robinson and Williams getting ready to come back. 20 points to 10. What a start to this final as Duggan pushes it down. Devine goes back.
That was a good kick. I'm not an advocate of kicking these days in rugby, but that one was kicked into no man's land. Remember my father's word, kicks to land, not to hand, and that's exactly what Rhys Duggan did then, into space. And it was Devine desperately getting back and dragged into touch. It's classic, actually.
Here come the 2 second rows. They've been sitting next to each other for the last 10 minutes. Ali Williams and Keith Robinson back on the track.
So Regan King joining Roger Randall and Joe Maddock. Well, Roger Randall can improve tonight. Joe Maddock has finished. And Doug Howlett, of course, still in the hunt as well.
Yeah, I'd say that odds are that either Randall or King will score again. Both these teams have averaged 5 tries per match in this NPC. Isn't that extraordinary? If you think about it, 4 or 5 years ago, that a team averaged 5 tries a match.
Robinson's back in the action.
It's the first drive we've seen. Yeah, it was.
Yep, Deacon Manu was just ahead of his mate Michael Collins, and that is illegal.
And the reason was, of course, that he broke away and then rejoined. If he's bound driving from the rear and everybody's bound together, he's part of the same maul.
The ball's got to be with the front man.
So let's have a little look at this. So the pack went one way, and that left Deacon Manu by himself, just running a shield. Well, John Mitchell, will he be willing Waikato to win? I dare say, mind you, the impartiality of the All Black selector. Ah, yes, but moments of the heart.
Last time Waikato won the MPC, John Mitchell was the captain in 1992.
And he's only human, isn't he, Lisbo? So naturally, there'd be a bit of emotion. But I'm sure he's watching a couple of players individually.
Here's Spencer, not this time.
Yes, so often selectors, when they watch a game of rugby, they don't watch the ball. They might be just looking at one player and just watching him alone for the whole of the game. Or maybe the first half, and then they change to another player in the second half. There'll be 2 or 3 players in this team, and then these 2 teams, that could play their way into a tour tonight.
Carlos Spencer's missed 2 penalties and 2 conversions. Now that's out on the full.
Good. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? The touch judge made a mistake. He said it was out, and Paddy O'Brien realised it was out on the full and took it back. Good refereeing. He was clearly out, and Carlos is telling him.
Well, here's that situation again, midfield scrum. Similar again, Brent Ward and Carlos Spencer in behind the Auckland scrum.
Yeah, 2 men.
Let's have a look at the variation now.
2 huge attacking talents. They're coming to the right. Muliaina, Spencer tries to drop it in behind. It's still on the Auckland side near the 22. Carried on by Mika. Devine held in the tackle. Braid gets the pass off to Howlett, to Tupo. And here's an intercept from Lowen. Looking for his support, can't find anybody. King, he hacks it on.
Here's the ball.
It's on the Waikato side for Dion Muir.
Oh, it should have been spun.
So dangerous on the counter-attack, this Waikato team. Here's Lowen. What a game he's having. Gets the pass back inside to King.
King got King hit.
Now it's Auckland under pressure, and one man, Keith Lowen, pretty much doing it on his own.
Well, he'd have to be a candidate for the tour as well, I would say, Keith Lowen. He's had the year of his life. There he goes again, the intercept. Howlett pulling him down. He trying to keep the ball alive. Just King over the top.
Murray, you mentioned Regan King, but in this case here, Keith Lowen, he's come from centre into second five, and he's been very, very positive. He's lost a few pounds. He's explosive on the first 10 metres, and we're seeing it tonight. He's having a ripper of a game, and certainly a person that we may hear his name on Monday afternoon.
It's interesting how selections are often influenced by victory as well. The winning NPC side's guaranteed to get some players, and the touring side.
Or has the team already picked Murray? That's the other question, isn't it?
Oh, no. I'm certain it's not.
Right, here's Bruce Reihana looking for 100 NPC points for the season, and he does it. And Waikato coming back strongly at Auckland.
Well, it's an interesting situation, that, Matthew, because it's been on the radio and the newspapers this week that Steve Devine has missed out on Super 12, and yet I would think he'd be very much under the spotlight here with the All Black selectors. He's had a great year, a big year, and if any of the incumbent halfbacks are left behind, he would be one of those seriously in contention.
Well, this is the environment, Murray, the cauldron of grand final football. If they can handle this, and they have a ripper tonight, they certainly must be looked at on Monday.
That's right, because you've got to pick players that can handle the big time, the big pressure, the moment.
Reece Duggan getting through was Howlett. Waikato might still have this. It's with Duggan again. Puts the left boot into it, down as far as Brent Ward, who's really put his hand up in this NPC, and Spencer makes a mistake.
Carlos Spencer looking at the crowd with disdain.
Just reminding Carlos that he's in an away crowd at the moment.
I'm not sure it was you or not.
Well, they went to Wellington, beat them at their own game. They went to Christchurch, they beat them at their own game, and now they're in Hamilton.
Greg Smith with the throw, taken down by Sean Honeck, the man who came in to replace Royce Willis. Now they're in danger here of truck and trailer again.
Yeah, but legit, because they're all bound together. Ball towards the back. It's a rolling ball.
Another advantage. Auckland starting to make mistakes now as Waikato are getting more ball. Duggan has a drop kick. He says, I'll take the penalty, thanks.
Duggan doing a Justin Marshall.
From the back, guys, please.
So often when the advantage is ruled and the ball comes back, halfbacks just want to take the penalty. They don't want it to go on, especially in goal kicking distance when your goal kicker's landing them.
Absolutely beautiful night here now in Hamilton. As I said before, during the day, very blustery, but conditions couldn't be better now. And I think Auckland have been going into this breeze, and I think it's died right down. Waikato won't have too much elements to face in the second half.
Pretty sure too, Matthew, that it was Xavier Rush who decided to run into the breeze in the first half, hoping, I think, that he'd have that advantage in the second. So Bruce Reihana, another chance, starting it out, we're bringing it back.
Well, he just stroked it over, his head down, hunched up like the hunchback of Notre Dame, over the top of the ball and just slotted it.
Third penalty goal tonight for Reihana. He also converted the king try, and it's just 4 points after Auckland had led by 20 points to 3. Terrific final so far, with a couple of minutes left in the first half.
What a terrific
Ball lost, and here's a chance for Auckland as Waikato make a mess of things. Auckland have a great opportunity. Boy, there'll be some sore bodies tonight with a racking. Spencer up to Tui Tupo. Good tackle by Hola.
Well,
Well done, Deacon Manu. Put that down to the number 3 for Waikato, the tight head prop in the news over the last month. But he was on his feet very quickly, enforcing the infringement from Auckland, and a chance for Derek Maisie to clear.
What a kick-off, though, by Carlos Spencer. All that pressure was created by a kick that went about 30 metres in the air, allowing all his players to get underneath it. Waikato received the ball and about 3 Auckland players at the same time. In fact, one of the Waikato players is still injured where the ball was
Not
taken.
out.
Kick's not out. Down to Devine for Howlett to bring it back. Bad mistake by Waikato not to kick it out. Dion Muir's leapt to his feet. He's back in the action as quickly as possible. Spencer, and ball knocked on. Manu hands it up to Reihana. Referee waiting for any advantage that might come, and I don't think there will be. And back we go to the scrum.
Well, it's so easy, of course, watching as a spectator. But believe me, when you're there surrounded by players with the tension, I just saw Bruce Reihana receive the ball. There were players all around him, both sides. And so often you see this blur of colour and no definitive shapes, gaps, and decisions have to be made.
Stay on, stay on.
Bruce Duggan. Oh, that's a hurried kick, and it's pretty well done under pressure. And Paddy O'Brien says we'll all take a break. And I think everybody deserves it. A titanic struggle in the first half. Auckland rushing out to a big lead. Waikato grinding their way back. And at half-time in the final, it's a 4-point lead for Auckland, 20 points to 16.
I think the whole crowd need a break too at half-time. Well, it has been a true final. As the lights go off on the stadium, the tension, the pressure, the expectation, I guess. And didn't it go off right from the start? Both teams entering into it. The ball bounced for Auckland. They scored their points, but Waikato came storming back, and they were always going to. So it's very evenly poised at half-time.
3 tries to 1 in the first half of the New Zealand First Division final. Auckland have the lead by 4 at the break. Second half of the final is underway at the Waikato Stadium. Dion Muir waits for the kickoff, and Waikato have early possession. Charge just like it was in the first half. Sits up for Mika. Now Palmer looking to get to the line, and up goes the flag.
I reckon Mika could have scored if he had pinned his ears back and had to go for the corner.
Waikato ball.
Almost an action replay of the first half when Spencer had a kick turn, and Scott Palmer very nearly made it. So Greg Smith with an important throw. Oh, they go long. That's brave. Into the arms of Marty Holler. Couple of names that haven't really cropped up a lot in this game. Marty Holler and Daniel Braid. Hasn't really been that sort of game.
No, it hasn't. I mean, there's been a lack of continuity, really. I guess it's the close marking, the tension, the pressure of the situation. It does change some decision makers. Not all, but some.
Come on, Robbo. Come on, Hans. Good jump.
Turnovers 8-5 in favour of Waikato.
Mealamu short to Mika. Round comes Rush. Has to get rid of it as it gets dangerously close to that line. Devine away for Spencer. Big tackle on Ben Artinga, who's hardly been involved in the game either. The left winger for Auckland. Ball is up. And it's on the Auckland side for Devine again. Spencer. Now it's Collins. 10 out from the 22. Auckland controlling possession. Mealamu. He gets it away to Braid. Nice tackle. A nice pass at least. Now it's been snapped up. Ripped away by Mika. Takes on Duggan. Now they come again with Spencer. Lobs it over the top. And in touch.
Auckland applying the pressure. Heaps of it.
Critical moment in the NPC final. The pressure coming on from the blue and whites like it did in the first 40. And if Waikato can survive and without conceding any more points, it'll be very, very important stage of the game.
That's incredible. That's the first time Auckland have strung together 6 phases.
Oh, he's thrown it wide, and Xavier Rush! It's another one off a Waikato throw, and the captain has scored.
Well, he's been getting better and better as the season's worn on. Xavier Rush, he took his moment. He's been good at breaking the line. Last week against Canterbury, he was fantastic. I think that's the first time he's broken the line tonight, but what a time to do it. So there was competition, line-out time. It wasn't so much the throw, I think it was probably the competition, but Rush did exactly what he needed to do. He got low and he drove hard.
Well, they took a risk the last time going way over the back and got away with it. And this time I think it was just supposed to go to Robinson, and the pressure coming on once again from Williams. And he's been a dominant figure in the line on defence, Ali Williams, and a great try from the Auckland skipper.
Carlos Spencer struggling with his goal kicking tonight. But Auckland have established a 9-point advantage on the try by Xavier Rush. Now there's quite a big change coming up here, Matthew.
No, there's been a change. They got the number 5 out, which was going to be Keith Robinson, which was going to be a significant change, but it has been the last minute. 4 is coming off. So Sean Honeck off, been replaced by Steve Bates, which will mean John O'Gibbs, number 6, will go into the second row.
So they want more mobility. That's the call.
Well, the number 5 went up, and I was a bit surprised because, of course, that's Keith Robinson. But that was a mistake from the sideline, so Robinson stays. Ray Hana fields the ball. Waikato again conceding an early try. Duggan for Maisie. Looking to angle this towards the touchline. And Rush managed to scramble it. And they'll go to a line out near the 22.
Well, he scrambled it, but he got out of it well with a little help from his friend. Incredible Auckland. They came out of the blocks in the first half. They've done it again in the second half. Just giving them that cushion on the scoreboard. 9 points. So Gibbs, tall player, about 195.
Off the top goes Gibbs. Maisie up for Lowen. Tui Tupo goes underneath and makes the tackle. Now Waikato. Maisie. Spencer looking to shield this. He's leaving it a bit late. Oh, that's an awful kick. Muir. 5 metres out. Playing advantage. Well, Carlos Spencer can be so brilliant, but that was a shocker.
Well, it wouldn't be Carlos if there wasn't something like that per game. But this is the moment for Waikato. Will they do what they did in the first half, Matthew? Will they kick for touch and play the line out? Because I think they need a psychological try here.
I think they're very similar. They're debating now. They're going to go for the goal. But Murray, you may have been right. They just need to get back into this game early into the second half. Auckland have struck. But at the moment, Bruce Reihana is banging the goals over. The person on the other side, Carlos Spencer, having a wonderful game at first 5, but he's not kicking his goals, and Bruce is keeping them in the game. And here is Carlos. So the good, the magic, and that time, the shocker.
Clint Eastwood, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Difficult kick here coming up for Reihana. This is where the new stand is covering it, where the wind used to come down here. You would allow for it, but at the moment where he is the wind wouldn't be too strong. But towards the post is where the breeze comes in, and he still will have to allow and kick to his right a little bit to allow the ball to come in.
How much is a little bit? 6 feet?
Aim at the right hand upright.
No.
He aimed at the left, I think. So Auckland, they'll want to get out of here while they've got the cushion. Waikato will want to take the ball in and drive, stay inside this 22. They've got to put some pressure on Auckland. They really do have to get back. The psychic energy is in Auckland's favour at the moment.
Just trying to compose himself, Carlos Spencer. Bit of a rush of blood to the head. Now it's with Lowen. Duggan for Maisie. Holler takes a good solid tackle. Waikato keep it going. Stephen Bates puts the kick through. And that's well controlled by Spencer. And not only that, he's got great distance in the kick, which he made from inside the 22.
Well, Bruce Reihana was looking for the quick throw for somebody. There was no one there. He was going to actually throw it to himself, but he slipped. So Gibbs, the blindside flanker, into lock, bringing on another flanker.
Again, not bothering to contest Auckland as Robinson.
Well, you can see that they held. What they wanted to do was just hold the Waikato drive. Can they do it? Now just taking inches only. Waikato starting to drive a little bit now. Yep.
Not a lot of progress. Maisie's got to kick again, doing a lot of it. And it's too far. So back to the 22 will come.
Well, it's interesting. I see that on the full. I'm just looking at the statistics. Waikato, Reece Duggan has kicked 6 times. Devine hasn't kicked at all, but he's run 5 times. So a real contrast between the 2 scrum halves.
Well, we've seen the highs and lows of Carlos Spencer in the last 5 minutes. Another kick out on the full, presenting Waikato with a great opportunity.
Once again, looking at the stats, Spencer's kicked 13
You
times.
two here, outstanding, right? Again, I'm going to trust you.
Compared to Maisie's 4. Extraordinary.
Stand up. No, stand up. Back in front of you, come up.
So Waikato with 4 players to the left, 2 to the right, and those 2 players to the right are very, very wide. That's throws the question at the Auckland defence. Do we spread? Do we keep inside and bail out, which is what they're doing? Well, you've got to scrum first before you can make play.
Great scrum. Here's Reece Duggan. Taken down by Rush.
Just about a turnover, not quite.
Bates hands it off to Muir.
Oh, great yardage, Muir.
Now Duggan brings it out for Holler. Miller's got in close. Lost it back. Still on the Waikato side for Duggan. And this time it is knocked on. Here's a chance. They won't stop Doug Howlett. Chased by Reihana, but he can give it away. Doug Howlett the length of the field.
Well, it could have been, well, it was certainly a 10-point try, 12-point try, I'll call it. There was a clear overlap to Waikato. Bates dropped the ball, and Howlett seized the moment. Major moment, actually, looking at the scoreboard, taking it to 30 to 16. Look at that. Reihana realised the urgency. Randall was the only one that possibly could have got him.
There's been a lot of talk about the Auckland defence over the last month in the NPC, and it's been evident in the last 5 minutes. The strong blue and white defence creating this pressure, and that creates the mistakes. And when you've got a person of the speed and the skills of Doug Howlett, it was goodbye. It's 80 metres down the track.
Well, he's the major strike winger in New Zealand at the moment with with the retirement of Jeff Wilson and the loss of form to Jonah Lomu, Doug Howlett would be the #1 strike. And then looking at the Waikato wing as well, haven't they been magnificent in this NPC? Roger Randall and Bruce Reihana. That's Reihana chasing to no avail. Lovely stride. He's a sprinter.
Well, this game's all about scoring tries. Auckland have scored 5 of them. Ian Foster's team have only got 1 so far tonight. It's a 32-16 lead. And Spencer down to the 10-metre line.
He's carving off some wonderful metres tonight on that right side of the field with the drop punt. There's been 3 or 4 occasions where he's just knocked off 40 or 50 metres. And it's been really putting the Waikato side under pressure. Playing well in the first 5 position tonight, Carlos Spencer, apart from a couple of blemishes as we saw.
Still a lot of time remaining in this game. Now here come Waikato. Reihana bursting out of a few tackles, finally taken by Braid. There it is for Duggan. Maisie sets it out wide this time. Lowen, beautiful offload. Now Roger Randall, and the ball knocked down by an Auckland player. But this looks like it might be the start of the Waikato comeback now.
Well, great attack, wasn't it? Reihana in the first channel, delayed. It was beautiful. And this is the second movement where it's moved wide. Lowen just kept on going. Todd Miller hand on quickly. Roger Randall, he had a little bit of a moment. He chose to kick.
Smith sends it wide for Duggan. Out it goes now to Maisie. King on the 22-metre line. Pushes it back. Next runner-up is Greg Smith. Oh, well taken. But he laid it back well. Considering he was on his back, it was a good effort. Robinson.
And he's on his back as well.
Penalty coming, though, for Waikato. Now, big decision to be made here. Plenty of time to go, though, Matthew. What would you do?
Well, that's twice now. Murray Mixted and Grant Nisbet are both asking me what to do here, and
well,
I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go for the. They're definitely going to go for the corner now.
Yeah,
32-16, 32-16, and here is an opportunity. They're going to get this line out. They get the drive, and they need to get back in. I don't think 3's enough at the moment. It's time to go for the 5-pointer.
Go for the doctor. Well, how many opportunities do you get at the grand final? So they first of all need to secure it.
Taken down by Bates. Here come the runners. Duggan. Duggan gets it up for Smith.
Oh, what a try.
That's a brilliant try.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Did you see Duggan going for the hole? Well, first of all, they threw it to Biggs. That'll be highly unusual. How many has he taken in the scheme of things? And then Duggan went for the hole. How he got the pass away, I'll never know. Smith dived over the top of an Auckland player. This is a great try.
Shows you the champion side Waikato are. They're not going to give in, and they're under a lot of pressure. Grant Nisbet said there's a lot of time to go, and there's that 5-pointer that they were looking for.
Well, this certainly justified kicking it out and going for the line out. Greg Smith, the Fijian captain, comes up with Waikato's second try.
Well, it's brave decision making. Bates has only just come on the field. He's not known as a line-out forward. He's a flanker, and they threw it to Bates. And he took it beautifully, and they moved it immediately to the short side.
Here's Reihana. Difficult. Just away. But now it's a 32-21 game.
That's the best thing about these two sides, Murray, is Waikato and Auckland. They're both sides that take risks. And they're not conservative. They have a go. They'll take a risk to get the points. And that must be why they're here tonight.
Ronnie Clark on the bench. Not actually in the reserves, Ronnie Clark, but just a part of the Auckland squad. Spencer down to Muir. Away for Holler. And he's well held inside the 22. Wonderful exhibition of rugby from both sides. Here's King. He fell into it. And referee says play on, and fair enough too, as Carlos Spencer looks to set it up for Auckland. Up goes the flag.
Regan King is looking pretty dazed.
Well, he slipped first.
Yeah. A little bit high. I don't think he's too bad though. There was no direct hit round the head. It was more a high tackle.
Smith for Robinson. Again, Auckland don't bother. Duggan, he's got pace. Reece Duggan. It's taken by Case Muse. Waikato coming back strongly at Auckland. Maisie, on it goes to Holler. Held up by Tuitupo. Carried on by the try scorer Greg Smith. Robinson's going to have to deliver the pass, which he does, for Deacon Manu.
Pretty interesting halfback first five combination.
Roger Randall is back, and he decides to boot it away downfield. Brent Ward. His kick is inside Waikato territory. Todd Miller. Waikato still in possession. Now blindside. Here's Randall looking to free up Lowen, and he can't hold it. Boy, they're finding some holes now.
Yeah, the best defensive side in New Zealand rugby, Auckland, and Waikato are starting to expose them. Whether it's fatigue, the pressure, they're starting to go through them now.
Well, I don't know about that. They made a couple of breaks. 6, in fact. That's impressive.
Todd Miller coming off the field now for Waikato, and he's been replaced by Mark Ranby, which means Regan King moving out into the left wing, and Bruce Rehan are going back to fullback.
So interesting change. So far Auckland haven't gone to the bench.
It is an interesting change, actually. Very intelligent footballer, Mark Ranby.
Spencer has to get rid of that quickly.
So Auckland bringing out all the guns tonight.
Now here comes Waikato again. Holler. 10-metre line Auckland territory. There it is for Robinson. Maisie takes it to the line. Now Jono Gibbs. Waikato playing with a real fervour now. That was lacking a little earlier.
Go on, fellas. Get on him, get on him. Thank you.
Well, just looking at the possession in favour of Waikato. Possession and territory. 59% Waikato. But the scoreboard's the key at the moment.
A couple of changes coming up for the Auckland side. Daniel Braid has been replaced by Angus McDonald, and Ben Atiga, the left wing, has been replaced by Tanivula on the left wing for Auckland.
So Wayne Pivac finally reacting to the changes that Waikato have made. And Angus McDonald on. Interesting change on the left wing. Ben Atiga has hardly seen the ball.
Well, it's an interesting change at open side flanker also. Braid's had a big year, started all games, but he's been quiet tonight, I will say. Tanivula, well, he's often broken the line. sort of guy that can turn a game.
Right, Waikato, away goes Duggan. Immediately has a crack down the blind side.
And plays the ball on the ground, perhaps.
On his feet, over top.
Just the 12 penalties so far from Paddy O'Brien.
Look at that, 15-3 and 9-outs. That's significant.
Mealamu goes short to Mika. Steve Devine. Spencer steps back and makes the kick. King gets bumped out of the road, but that was legit. Just running straight into somebody.
Yeah, bring him on. That's it.
The change coming on now as we see Regan King overrunning it, banging into Doug Howlett. Reece Duggan's going to be coming off the field now, replaced by Isaac Boss. Great return for Isaac Boss. Got injured against Canterbury, broke his jaw, and he's back on now to replace Reece Duggan.
And that's another one against the throw.
Devine. Spencer. Howlett is in. Held up by Ramby.
Get off the tackler! Go back, go back.
Devine again. Spencer in pass.
Got them all. We'll get them all.
Auckland appear to control this.
From the back only, from the back only. Playing advantage.
Still with an 11-point lead. Could be more. Spencer's going to have a drop kick. He's going to get a penalty anyway.
Pulling them all down.
So an opportunity here for Auckland to go back to a 14-point lead. It's right out in front. He hasn't had a great deal of luck tonight with his goal kicking, Carlos Spencer. But this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's right in front too. Well, I think they want that 14-point cushion. It's a battle of attrition. Look at that. Heath Robinson outweighed by numbers. Fantastic action, isn't it?
No problems this time for Carlos Spencer. And Auckland now lead by 14 points.
Those are the crucial ones to get over, and Carlos Spencer stepped up to the mark and slotted it from 34 metres. And the pressure now right back on the Waikato side.
Maisie. Controlled by Williams. Devine. Spencer challenged by Bates, but Carlos Spencer has been getting great distance in his kicks tonight. See one or two of the players who are out for the season. Royce Willis there, Lockie Crichton in the foreground. May or may not be required. That's not a good throw. Some of the line-out throws haven't been good. Mika on the charge, the big fellow. Advantage again. The penalties coming against Waikato. Mealamu now taken by Muse, and the ball knocked back, no knock forward.
I called it over. You had good forward position. I called it over.
Well, unfortunate for Auckland, they had the penalty. The moment the advantage was called over, the ball was knocked forward. Well, the re-emergence of Case Muse, this NPC. A delight, I'm sure, for all and sundry, including the All Black selectors. Powerful figure in last week's match against Canterbury.
Well, the blue and whites are real battle-hardened, aren't they? They went down to Wellington, then they had to go to Christchurch, and then they've come down 110 k's down the highway to the hostile Waikato Stadium. And it's all about pressure, and that's the side Auckland are showing, or putting the pressure on Waikato at the moment.
Now Waikato with Muir. Boss. Reihana can't hang on. Driven by Tani Vula. Still on the Waikato side. It's a real scramble going on. Bates.
Somehow Waikato kept the ball. Great recovery.
Isaac Boss gets it back for Derek Maisie. That relieves a bit of the pressure. Brent Ward to bring it back though. He's a lovely runner and he gets it almost to halfway. Auckland will reassemble well. Mealamu. Now Devine back. Spencer looking to just angle it into the corner. And Reihana, who's now stationed back at fullback, gets a big one downfield. Spencer's dropped back though. He'll have another crack. That's a much better one from Carlos Spencer. And Auckland looking maybe just to slow the pace of this game down now.
Yes, and Waikato, of course, desperate to keep it alive.
Waikato need to score 3 times to get in front. Greg Smith can't hear the call.
Yes, and Auckland, of course, with that remarkable record of never having lost an NPC final. They wouldn't have played too many away from home, though.
Once again, Smith's throw doesn't reach the mark, and Williams throws it away. And Waikato back in possession. Now they get it wide for Ranby. Sees a gap. Can't quite get through it. Devine clips his ankles. Now Robinson. 10 out from the 22. Carried on by David Briggs. Boss gets it off to Maisie. Holler. Big welcoming party from Auckland for Marty Holler. Now Boss. Off the knee. And now the kick and choke. Oh, that's terrible. I think Roger Randall might get a yellow here.
Hold it. Player? No.
Oh, he said no, but I'll tell you what, he's lucky. That was blatant obstruction.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Don't do it.
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
Frustrating night for Roger Randall. Hasn't had much ball to play with.
No, go. Yep.
And his frustrations all came out there.
Very lucky to be on. We're going to see a change shortly with David Gibson, the Auckland reserve halfback, warming up. Steve Devine took a little bit of a knock there. He's not comfortable.
Yeah, get him on.
And that's the end of the night for Steve Devine. Good performance once again from the Auckland halfback. And replaced by another very promising halfback in New Zealand rugby, David Gibson.
Not much more than 10 minutes left.
Advantage over!
Advantage is over. Paddy O'Brien has been very good on that tonight as Collins takes it inside the 22. Now David Gibson.
Watch your feet, watch your feet!
What a replacement player to have. Spencer for Rush.
Stay back.
Now Mika inside the 22 he goes. Auckland have got the momentum with Case Muse having a big season. Now they spin it wide. Spencer for Tui Tupo.
Benefit for the tackler, adjust.
So what's the bets on Carlos Spencer? Drop kick.
Well, it's an opportune time. 14 to 17. That would mean
Wrap it up, I'd say.
Yep, pretty much.
Come on, Case.
It's a great.
Okay, let's try it. Your ball. You're not right, let's go.
It's a great position to attack from, though. Look at that blind side. Look at the short side on the right-hand side. Howlett over there, Ward over there.
Gibson goes on his own, the little halfback. Auckland setting it up. Hughes fights an extra metre. Now Gibson again goes on his own. Just keeping it nice and tight, eating up the clock. Gibson's got it now for Spencer. Howlett fights his way through. There it is. That will be it. Doug Howlett gets another one, and it looks very much now as though Auckland will win the title.
Absolutely legitimate. They never held him in the tackle. Doesn't matter how you get over. You're not held in the tackle. You can crawl, slither, whatever. He did all things. Have a look at this one. Through the hole, not held, slipped through. Couple of, well, magnificent. The momentum in the end.
Well, you mentioned drop goals before. Not this Auckland side, this new Auckland side. A lot of young talent, very young team. They're attack focused. They like having a go. And the result is Doug Howlett in for number 2.
Well, 6 tries to 2 is pretty comprehensive. 40 points to 21. No way back now, one would think, for Waikato. They're going to bring some fresh legs on.
Well, we've witnessed the re-emergence of Auckland again. They've been in remission for a few years, and they're back. And I think it's wonderful for New Zealand rugby that they are. The biggest union numerically, firing all the shots. 6 tries. What a way to go in the final.
The cowbells are still ringing. Carlos Spencer has missed again, but Auckland keeps scoring tries, so it doesn't matter too much. And this is just the latest. Doug Howlett taking his tally for the season to 10, so he's right up there. And 2 tonight.
Lockie Crichton's on to replace Derek Maisie at first 5, and Greg Smith is been replaced by Scott Linklater.
They'll keep it going to the end, Waikato, for sure, but they've been outgunned with 7 minutes to go. It's there on the Waikato side for Muir. Holler bounces off.
Well, all night Holler's been too wide, and he's hit big lines of defence. It's almost as though Auckland have read the tactics.
No, it's down too long now. Up he comes.
Go Waikato!
Yeah, get him on. Get him on.
Another change, Matt.
Yeah, Sam Tuitupo coming off, and the former All Black second 5'8", Lee Stensness, coming on to replace Sam Tuitupo. Another strong defensive performance by this new player, and he's got the smiles on his face, and it's a very happy man. Good season from Tuitupo.
Good to see Lee Stensness will be there when the final whistle blows. His boss's kick is fielded by Ward.
Well, perhaps it might be the last game for Lee Stensness. Well, he's been a great servant. He's been away, played a bit of rugby offshore, came back, answered the call. I believe when he came back, he wasn't even going to play. And he really has played well.
Robinson towering for Waikato. Now here's the Waikato backs still trying to get through. Linklater puts his head down. Big charge from Deacon Manu. Desperate to get the ball, they do now. And there's Roger Randall having a go. They hold him up. No, he's still got it. Pops it up. Lowen. Keith Lowen.
Well, they wanted it. The crowd screamed for it. And maybe justice was done. Keith Lowen was the scorer. He's been the man that's penetrated. Roger Randall started it. He didn't get held, so he kept going. And Loan bursting through. Well, they've finished in a flurry, Waikato.
Reihana's conversion is over. So 40-28, a 12-point margin.
Nice play from the Waikato side. Roger Randall getting outside Lee Stensness. Wasn't totally held, then got away in the straight lines from Keith Lowen. And if ever a player deserved a 5-pointer, it was Keith Lowen. Just having a little chat there to Justin Collins after he scored to tell him how he should have possibly got him.
Crowd want Carlos Spencer to hurry up. I think they still figure they've got an opportunity here. 12-point margin.
4 minutes to go.
Got to score twice, Waikato. Boss. Away for Crichton. And it's with Keith Lowen again. Now Gibbs. Big defence, as it's been all night from Auckland. They've conceded 3 tries. They managed to score 6 themselves. Now Waikato looking to bring it out again. Away for Reihana. Ranby.
Oh, brilliantly cleared.
Keeping it alive. Holler puts King into the gap. Lays it back nicely. Briggs goes up the centre. Now they go blindside with Keith Lowen once more. Desperation here from Waikato. Now they get it wide to Muir.
And he's lost it.
Lost it.
8 phases. The most number in the game. Extraordinary. Such has been the competitive nature of this game. Regan through the hole. Regan King through the hole again.
Scrum follows blue ball. Let's go.
Well, he's had a huge first season, Regan King. He's going to be on the losing side tonight.
No, that'll do. That'll do.
Yes, he seems to be a composed player as well. He's only had 11 NPC games all this year. But he looks like a player that's been here for years.
Auckland have led this game right from the start. Gibson feeds. Rush. Away for Gibson. Try to get rid of his opposite, Isaac Boss. Ball is there for Ward to snap it up. Now Lee Stensness. Something of a veteran player these days. Muse hands it back. Spencer happy to boot it out. And there's only about a minute left.
Thank you.
Well, the emotion, the spoils of war. It's a bit like that. Not as much, not as fatal, of course.
Could be the last line out of the game with Linklater to throw. Bates takes it. Boss to Crichton. Ranby. Beautiful hands from King. Huge defence on Roger Randall. And that came from Brent Ward. Just throwing themselves into it, the Auckland players.
Yep.
Waikato come again. Crichton. Just on the Auckland side of halfway.
No.
As the 80 minutes ticks by. Bates. Tried to get the pass away. It's in Auckland's possession. They can hold it now. And that'll be it. Gibson's going to make sure it is. And the arms will go up in just a moment. There it is. Auckland have won the New Zealand First Division in 2002 and deservedly so.
What a performance. Explosive start right from the start, Auckland, in both halves, in fact. They caught Waikato by surprise. They led, they scored. Waikato clawed back into the game by half-time. Auckland burst away again after the half. Waikato came again a little, and then Auckland kept on going.
Now let's go to the ground. Matthew Cooper has with him Xavier Rush, captain of Auckland.
Well, I've got the inspiration Auckland skipper. Xavier, tell us how it feels to be the Auckland skipper after that result.
Oh, I'm very proud of this team. Showed a lot of character. Last time we came down here to Rugby Park, Waikato really set us on our ass and we had to rebuild. We had a lot of respect for them. We had a lot of respect for them today. We knew we had to come out here and really fire the shots, because if we didn't, they would.
A very composed Auckland side this evening.
Yeah, we last time we came down, we didn't feel we really fired our shots. So, you know, tonight I think the guys, they were relaxed all week, really relaxed. I thought we might have been a bit too relaxed, but we just wanted to come down here and make sure we fired our shots.
Some of the young players coming through, fantastic.
Yeah, there's great depth in the Auckland ranks at the moment. There's good experience in key positions, but some of these young guys just played their hearts out, and I'm really proud of them.
Have a good night, Xavier.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
You bet he'll have a good night. I'm sure the Auckland players will all have a very good night, and they've deservedly won this title over Waikato by 40 points to 28. Let's hear from the losing skipper, Dion Muir.
Well, Dion, a wonderful season, but it just wasn't quite there tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, Auckland took it to us right from the start. We're pretty much, you know, we made a lot of mistakes, but, you know, the defense produced that, and we just couldn't get back, and, you know, we're playing catch-up rugby all the way through.
You showed some signs of that great character the Waikato side have shown all year. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, yeah, we kept going, kept trying. Mistakes crept in, but, you know, Auckland, they were too good for us tonight.
Some wonderful players coming through in the Waikato side this season.
Oh, yeah, I'm so proud of the boys. You know, we've had a great season. Didn't expect to get here. Yeah, but like you say, there's some depth coming through, and that's one of the good things that's come out of it.
Inspirational leader, Dion. You've had a great year.
Thanks, Coops. Just thanks to our supporters out there too. Cheers, mate.
Our two dignitaries, President of NZRFU, Lane Penn, and Senior Vice President of Sales and Distribution of Air New Zealand, Norm Thompson, to present the Air New Zealand NPC Trophy to Xavier Rush, captain of the Auckland team.
Yes, that's the moment that they play for throughout the season, and Xavier Rush holding that trophy aloft to signify that Auckland are the champions in 2002. Very much deserved as well, and I'm sure the celebrations will continue long into the night.